what can the regulatory authorities actually do here? Because you mentioned something important. You said that the menace of birds flying around airports because of the presence of dumping grounds is something that has been increasing. This is something that you have pointed out. What is now incumbent on the regulatory authorities that they try and rectify this?
Well, to begin with, the regulatory authority has to look inwards first and both outwards. Do they have sufficient trained manpower to handle so many things? We have seen so many helicopter accidents in the past few weeks, training school accidents in the past few weeks, and now this big accident. So a big accident does not happen out of the blue. There are enough warnings which are given in terms of smaller incidents or serious incidents. So if we try to hide incidents and convert serious incidents into just incidents, so basically digging ourselves into the sand, the ostrich effect. And if we say everything is fine, so recently we said we have passed the IQ audit, which is the UN body on aviation with flying colors. I had a look at that report, which said in the past 5 years there has been 0 accidents. But Calicut accident happened in that time. There was another Indigo ATR accident. So if you do not put figures up front, of course you'll get good marks. Your safety management system, which is the bubble under which all safety activities happen, was a failure. It was a red mark. But overall, we got 70+%. So we are tom-tomming that our safety has gone up. But you see, the critical part of the safety management system in which safety resides, that is a failure. So how can we be so sure? That is why we will continue to see repeated issues like this. Air India training itself has been in flux. A lot of compromises were made in terms of pilot training, because of which the head of training was replaced. I don't know what is the qualification of the current head of training. They have something called standards department, which keeps checking pilots at random, and instructor checking an examiner, which is not a DGC approved entity. So it is a ghost entity which is doing. So who's in charge of Air India? I'm not really very sure who's running Air India.
The regulators will, of course, have to look into this. This is something that cannot be brushed under the carpet. This is something that is a very, very serious issue, and that needs to be addressed. But Captain Amit Singh, I also want you to, shed some light on, if you can, about the kind of maintenance and the pre-checks that are done before a plane takes off. Because for people, thousands and hundreds of thousands of people who are now to board their flights, the fact that a tragedy of this scale has happened, they'll be extremely concerned about the safety of flying. How safe is it to fly? This is, a one-off, very rare incident that has happened. But what are the kind of checks that are done before a plane, a civilian plane such as this, is deemed to be ready for takeoff before every flight?
The aircraft is checked thoroughly. It is basically, if you go back to the manufacturer, Boeing, in the past they've had so many issues, and I've written about it in the book which has just been released, Mindfly, about human factor issues and such things. That Boeing, there was a US court. This is not me, just the US court saying that Boeing was aware of known design defects, which they did not rectify just because of the costs, which would have spiraled up. So there were a spate of Boeing 737 accidents in the 80s. Then there was a 747, which the center tank blew up because of wiring issues, and the 737 MAX accident. So Boeing was aware of design defects, but they did not rectify certain things because they had immunity from third-party manufacturing, which was taken off recently. The 787 had a battery fire issue when it was being manufactured.
Absolutely.
So Boeing conveniently said that we do not manufacture the batteries. Yuasa, the Japanese firm manufacturers, but the investigator said it is your responsibility. And what was the problem was the FAA was also not saying anything, was going soft on Boeing. So In India too, the regulator has to basically strengthen their capacity in terms of training of personnel and the oversight capabilities. India's, in terms of growth, is becoming the third largest, but our aviation is on stilts. Foundation is weak. We do not have institutions which can produce professionals. We rely on outside foreign companies.
Right.
So we're going to spend about $1 billion